can you believe it? Not since week 1 of this game has Ashley won a challenge. And well, she hasn't technically won the final HOH challenge. She did win part 2 of the final HOH challenge, beating out Vince in a game that, surprise, surprise, Vince is beating himself up about. But it's very nice to see Ashley win another competition in this game. I'm excited for her, and it does make this final HOH on Sunday night, the finale, that much more interesting, because if Ashley does win, she can cut Morgan and likely win this game against Vince. And I would love that, because I felt like anyone that's watched my videos all season knows that I have tried to hype Ashley up all the time that I can, because one, she's very smart and she plays dumb and people fall for it, and people have talked a lot of shit about her within the game, like she doesn't know what's going on, when frankly she has been the one all season long who always knew what was going on. But also, Ashley is getting a terrible edit on the episodes, and so that alone always made me want to hype her game up, because I'm sick of the editors, sick of these dumbass producers doing these terrible edits for the episodes, where not only are they bad edits and make for bad television half the time, but they are like completely different from what's happening in the game. Big Brother has always made me question all these other reality shows that don't have live feeds, because they can easily edit people to be worse than they always are. Someone mentioned in my Survivor video that they edited a player who got eliminated this past week to look worse than she was. And I believe that, because look at the way Big Brother has edited Ashley. To the casuals, it's going to look like if Ashley does win the final HOH, takes Vince and wins, it's going to look like Ashley just won because of a bitter jury. And well, that still will be one of the main reasons why Ashley would beat Vince in a final 2. She's also going to probably have one of the better final 2 speeches, especially between these final 3. I actually do think Ashley would probably have the best speech, even better than Morgan. Even though Morgan has played the superior game, I don't know if Morgan's going to have this kick-ass speech, but we'll find that out if Morgan gets there. But if Ashley's in final 2, I expect a pretty damn good speech from Ashley. And I can't wait to see the look on some of the jurors' faces if she is in the final 2. But we are putting the cart before the horse. I'm definitely doing that, because Ashley still has to defeat Morgan one-on-one in a competition. And that hasn't looked good all season, when it wasn't even one-on-one, when there was other people in these last few weeks that could beat Morgan in a challenge. Morgan comes up on top. But this is, out of the final 4, really the final 5 for me personally, this is the best final 2 for me. Not that they're going to be final 2, because I do think if either one wins, they cut the other and take Vince. That has to be the case. But this is the best final 2 in the final HOH that I could ask for. Hopefully Ashley has actually remembered some of her days. There's been a few times this season that I recall Ashley talking about how she doesn't remember days and how she hasn't been keeping track of the days. Now, she's a very smart person, and it seems like she edged Vince out in this second part of the final HOH because she's a smarter person than Vince. It sounded like they both, I don't know what the challenge was, but it sounded like they both didn't know what they were doing. They were a little lost with the directions, but Ashley figured it out before Vince, and thus Ashley won. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Morgan versus Ashley come finale. As for Vince, I know a lot of you in the comments this morning brought up how Vince was really doing one of his sob stories in the wee hours of the morning today, and he was, and he's done this many times this season. And like I keep saying in the comments, I don't know what Vince's MO is. I feel like it's a combination of, it's been game a lot this season. He has been using emotions to try and get his way. But I also feel as though this is the real Vince. He beats himself up a lot. He likes to play the victim. He, like a lot of women over the past year in reality television, mostly looking at Love Island and Huda, have this victim mentality that they love to bring to the table. And Vince is no different. He has this victim mentality that I believe he probably uses in his real life too. And he's definitely been using it in this game to try and not look like the bad person, to not have this blood on his hands. He's an excuse maker in real life. You can just tell. And this is his excuse in the game. But by always doing this, it adds to all of the many reasons why the jury shouldn't vote for him to win and probably won't vote for him to win. As I've said a lot, and hopefully I'm not a broken record by this point, but there was a lot of points throughout this season where I felt as though Vince just dogs his game. And how is anybody in the jury supposed to respect that? So now after the challenge, he's been whining about it again, beating himself up to Morgan. Morgan has to comfort him. For those of you like Ray that have said that Morgan has gotten the ick from Vince over these past few days, I still don't know if I believe that, but I think she should. But then I think back, and this is the same Vince that Morgan has wanted to be her number one for several weeks now. Might not have started that way, but it definitely became that way within the first month. This is who she wanted to be her number one. This is who she was very loyal to this whole time. And at the end, that's looking like a really brilliant idea. But I don't know if I would have said this 2 months ago, and I don't think I did say this 2 months ago, that Morgan should stick by Vince because that's who she wants to sit next to in the end. But looking back, his terrible social game with all this blood on his hands where the jury's not going to vote for him, maybe Morgan, much like Ashley, really does have these really great reads. So props to both Morgan and Ashley. I'm looking forward to their duel, their one-on-one duel at the finale. It's definitely more interesting than a Morgan and Vince duel for me personally, because at least both Morgan and Ashley have a higher chance of winning than Vince. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that Vince is 100% out of it. Nobody, well, sometimes people are 100% out of it. But most of the time, people aren't 100% out of winning the game if they're at a final three. And Vince is not. There is still a couple people on the jury that I think are extremely dumb and that I think don't get the game and that I think don't care about the game. And they certainly didn't play the game, looking at Kelly, looking at Lauren. And even Keanu's been dumb when it comes to Vince. Although watching some of Keanu's exit videos, he finally seems to see how stupid he was for trusting Vince the whole time. So I do believe that Keanu will vote against Vince no matter what. But there are people that will look at Ashley and not want to vote for her, and that is Lauren and Callie, I think. But it will take more than Lauren and Callie for Vince to beat Ashley in a final two. So as it stands, in my opinion, whoever wins this duel between Ashley and Morgan need to take Vince to the end to win the game. That's the way it is. That's why Vince is going to he's going to be an emotional crybaby for the next 2 damn days of feeds. These last 2 days of feeds is going to be Vince playing the victim. It's not going to be that fun to watch because it is a broken record, but that's what we're going to get. He thinks he just lost the game today because he thought the only chance he had to get all the votes was to win the final HOH. And, well, I don't think that's correct. I think he would have lost regardless of if he won the final HOH because of the way he's played with this jury. Yeah, I think that's all I got to say for tonight. I will try and be back tomorrow if there is enough to talk about. But if it's going to be Vince whining and crying the whole time, I don't know what else I can say. But at least we have something to look forward to going into this weekend. 2 more days left. Who's going to win this final duel? Either way, I'm happy because Morgan is a great winner. Ashley, to me, is a great winner. And I've been rooting for Ashley the whole time. So it's a win-win for me, unless somehow Weasel Vince gets the votes, but I don't see it.